what have we here? What have I done now? Ooh, don't have a knife handy. Another eBay item. Another broken piece of hardware. Yes and yes. I was short some items in my collection, and this should more than make up for it. Oof, that's not the way I want to see these things wrapped up. They are 4 Amiga mouses. According to the seller, 2 of them work, 2 of them don't. I guess we'll find out which. One of them is actually kind of cool. It is an Amiga 1000 mouse. If you know anything about that, it actually has an angled connector on it. But packing mice like this is the reason that the cords go bad anyway, so maybe that's what the problem is, or maybe not. This here is a little unusual. A ferrite bead maybe, or I mean, I don't know what that is. Looks like a ferrite bead, but then it's got something inside. Oh, you know what? That's a zip tie. A zip tie and a ferrite bead. Wonder what somebody was up to with that. Anyway, we got 4 mice and we're going to test them out. So let me tell you what I was talking about as far as how the cord was wrapped. The seller wrapped these very well. Each one was individually packed in bubble wrap. And then the whole contents put into a box and stabilized with gap filling material, in this case paper, so that the items inside don't move around, because if the things inside move around they could be damaged, but if they're static inside, the box will wind up absorbing whatever shock rather than transferring it in and knocking the pieces inside. Anyway, so wrapping the cord around your device, creating kinks is really not the way to go. You know, making whatever loose coil you can is the best practice when storing or sending it off or whatever. I guess I usually do something like this, and then just as it is like that, I'll put it in the bag. Granted, the cords will, you know, go like this, but it's fine. You know, at least they're not taking sharp turns, and because you don't want to kink the cords. They become twisted inside. If I run my fingers down the length of this particular one, I can feel how the wires inside are all twisted around and then kind of a mess, and it's more likely over time, because these things we would like them to last forever, they won't. Eventually these cords are going to go bad because of the kinks that were introduced into them when packing, and so this is the way I would do it. It's okay to squeeze it all together and tape it all together, leaving headroom here for the connector, you know, bunching the cord around like this so that when you put the wrapping paper around it, it's not kinking anywhere really, you know, like that. It's fine. It looks ugly. That's the counterintuitive part. That's why people tend to wrap cords around things, like your laptop power supply. Take that and you wrap it up tight. It's got a little Velcro thing with it. Worst thing you can do with that cord, I mean, if you want it to last, put it loosely in your laptop bag, something like that. It's just an example. Anyway. Okay, so I got some tape, and I'm gonna mark whatever problems these have. This is the A1000 right-angled plug mouse, and it suffers from having no horizontal. So I'm gonna write that down. No horizontal. Let's see, I think I can test the right mouse button. Left mouse button, oh, yes I can, yay. Okay, so the only thing wrong with that mouse is no horizontal. Let's move on to the next mouse. I just have whatever was in my Gotek at the time, which is 1945. This one is okay, perhaps, once it's clean. We'll have to see. Yeah. Again, the mouse works good, but let's see. This one's, let's call it laggy. Laggy, possibly just dirty. That's what the seller had said. He said maybe all you need to do is clean it. That's usually what happens to these mice, these ball mice, if they go bad. Alright. Other one. I may not have it on the greatest surface either. Needless to say, I am going to clean all of them. This one seems pretty good. Yeah, maybe just a little dirty. Okay. Only had one of the four with a serious problem. Weird. I've never seen an Amiga with a ferrite. Maybe somebody was trying to... You know, fellas, we might have gotten lucky. This one's definitely... That one's got an intermittent horizontal. Intermittent horizontal. And mouse buttons. See this? You wonder if maybe the cord it doesn't go past a certain point. It's the ball, definitely. Horizontal only goes so far. I don't know how else to write that. Okay. Alright, so let's take these things apart and see what we can do. Okay, this one is just dirty. It seems to work, but just not very well. I guess I could take the ball out first and see. Now the ball is dirty itself. It's just general. Yeah. It's got the garbage in there. Your typical hairs. Let's see how close we can get this. Could use some supplemental lighting here. I don't have anything handy besides my cell phone at the moment, so okay. So I don't know how well you can see that, but which way? Which way is up? That's pretty typical to have hairs just wound around the things, the cylinders. So we'll take that apart and give it a good clean. Here's a better look. Yummy. There's a piece of fuzz sitting right there. You know, and that's going to interfere with the ball's contact. Especially a clump. This, by the way, this is hair and dead skin. That's like 99% of it, most likely. Isn't that pleasant? So I'm just gonna, I could disassemble the whole thing, but it's not really worth the effort. If I take some tweezers and a cotton you know, cotton bud, I guess some people call it, and just kind of clean it off. Grab the tweezers and yank off the hair. That's not coming off with alcohol or anything. It's only coming off with yanking. So we'll clean that off and see how well we do. Might as well grab out the fuzzies before I get everything wet with alcohol. Obviously this is something you can do without taking the mouse apart. That's historically how I've always done it. Just wanted to have a look inside and see if there was anything else of concern. How to clean your mouse. Looks like I got most of that off. It would kind of be nice to got some skin there. See, isn't that lovely? Yummy. The skin and hairs mixed together, so you start grabbing hairs, and if you're lucky you can get some skin off with it. See, that's probably enough for me to see. So I'm just going to put the mouse in here. Like I'm in a real good, let's see. So what I'm doing now is I'm seeing why it's not moving. And what's happening is the ball stops moving. Of course, if the ball stops moving, the cursor's going to stop moving. The ball's not going to be turning the cylinder. In turn, turning the the way these things work is there's a photocell and there's it's like a Hall effect sensor. You've got a photodiode and a photosensor on either side, and then this wheel that goes in between, and that wheel is attached, this wheel right here. Where is it? This wheel right here has got little hash marks in it, you know, openings, and you know, and the mouse ball goes against this plastic, which is attached to that wheel by a shaft, and so when you move it, it does a pulsation, because the light is passing through on the places. It's you know, infrared or ultraviolet light, or probably infrared, passing through those little marks in the wheel, those little holes in the wheel, and they're evenly spaced all the way around, and that pulsing in a specific direction is what makes the mouse move. So I'm gonna clean the mouse now with some stuff. I'm only gonna do this once. I mean, I'm gonna do the procedure many times, but I'm only gonna demonstrate it once, obviously. Just dumb. So this ball is kind of gross. I wonder, I just have a thing full of, the cap full of alcohol. I'm just gonna soak the ball. It's only soaking a third of it, but maybe that's a good judge as to how effective it is. So right now, I'm holding the cotton on that cylinder that makes contact with the ball, and I'm turning. This is really the best way to do it. not getting too much off of there because I pretty much got everything off of there before. There's still got to be some remnants. I wonder what's causing the ball to bind up. Maybe I actually need to clean the inside of where the ball sits. Maybe it's getting bound up in there because it's dirty. Or it could possibly be there's an X and a Y. This is going to be the X, I guess, and the Y, the horizontal and the vertical, pickups. And then, so those are at 90 degrees from each other, and at a equal angle from the two of those combined is a wheel. Just a wheel, and the only thing that the purpose of that is just to keep the mouse kind of keep the ball pushed up against these two. And if this spring is weak, or if this thing is dirty, which it looks kind of dirty to me, then it's going to prevent the ball from making good contact, keeping itself up against these cylinders, and just trying to think. I might have to take this mouse apart after all to get that properly cleaned, because it's kind of hard to get in there. Let's see if I can take a look and see how yucky it is in there. Oh, got something. See it? I don't know if I'll be able to grab this stuff that's behind. I think what I should do is go ahead and take this whole thing apart. See how the mouse is doing, the ball is doing. Look at that. Wow. Okay. That was probably more from the wiping than the soaking, but anyway. So I'm going to take this the rest of the way apart. That screw driver isn't going to do it. Need something. That was a number 2. Switch to a number 3. I don't know, let's see. Yeah, this thing here, this mechanism, I don't know if it's providing much tension, but just going to give it a try. that works pretty good. Folks, I think we got it. Combination of cleaning the ball and cleaning the inside of where the ball sits. And I think this one we can call good. Backwards until we click, forwards. Backwards until we click, and forwards. So I've said in my other videos, when you put these screws that are basically self-tapping screws into the plastic, which is just plastic, there's no metal or anything, that you should go in reverse, go backwards, go to the left, as though you were loosening it until you feel a click or hear a click, and then proceed. And it's when the thread of the screw matches the thread that's inside the hole, and you're not creating or cross-threading it, which can be problematic because it will cause the joint to be less weak, cause the mouse to potentially, or whatever you're working on, to potentially last less years, because you're chewing another hole, you're chewing another channel in the plastic, and you really don't want to do that. You don't really want to cut this plastic or do anything to it if you can help it. You know, I cut a hole right here if I want, but I'm not going to do that because I don't really want to. I want to preserve this thing. So here it is. I'll show you how well it works. It's working. About to run out of battery here. Works pretty good. I think this one's good. Yep. One way to test this is without using the mechanics of the ball, is just to take your finger and move the actual cylinder with your finger, and oh, wait a minute. It does seem to move consistently. I thought it wasn't for a second. Oh, there, it's doing something weird. I wonder if there's some gook on the actual wheel disc, you know, the disc that's attached to the shaft. Probably be good if I knew the actual terms for this stuff. So let's take it apart and see if we notice anything obscuring the optical area. Okay. So we're looking at this part right here to see if there's anything blocking one of the holes. I don't know if you can see those holes. Yeah. So I'm just looking through them. Seems pretty good. Let me just check some things. This doesn't seem too dirty. Whoa, that didn't seem like it was even tight. This one was tight, but the bottom one, I wasn't even sure that the tool, the screwdriver, seated into the head because it was so loose. So, you know, if the thing isn't stable inside the actual container, it's obviously going to cause a problem. Look at the size of these. This is definitely a newer mouse. It's got a wider case, and Yeah, I don't know if that serial number means anything to anybody, but yeah, this really isn't bad. Cleanliness wise, it looks pretty good. Looks like it should operate fine. It's just one little issue of the horizontal not working reliably. And if this was the screw, the bottom one here goes right in there, and it was not tight. Okay, I'm gonna clean the case out and everything, and then I'll turn the camera back on. Yeah, I think I got it. I think I got it. Back and forth and back and forth. Up and down, up and down. Okay, cool. On to the next one. Okay, this one is just having a lag problem in general. Actually, it's pretty much working fine. Oh, there it made a little mix-up. So the previous two, I'm just going to follow the same procedure. This one should be fine. Made in Malaysia. Okay, just a cleaning is all this one needs.